All right, hello everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I'm Tia, and first episode of You Should Watch This. I did an introduction video last week, and so this is going to be the first video that I actually talk in length of what you should watch that's upcoming. I am super pale right now. I'm trying this a little differently. I'm standing in front of my window. You can see more of my apartment, so hope you like that. But yeah, the show that I think that we should all be preparing for that's upcoming is Lupin Part 2 on Netflix. We're not going to talk too much about part 1 that just came out early in January, but there are going to be spoilers, so please be aware of that. Netflix just the other day put out a poster saying that part 2 of Lupin is coming this summer, even though they didn't give an exact day, but that's fine. I am so excited for this show. I had heard a few people talking about Lupin, and I decided to take a break in between working and was like, all right, I'm on Netflix. What should I watch? And it's a 5-episode, season. It's all in French, which is fine. I actually don't mind subtitles. I think I said in my introduction video that I love Narcos and Narcos Mexico, and that's primarily spoken in Spanish, so I have to read the subtitles in that case. So the fact that Lupin's in French, entirely in French, and you have to read subtitles doesn't matter to me. It may matter to you, but I think you lose a little when you do the dubs on shows and movies. So if you can get used to subtitles, I certainly suggest it. So Lupin, really quick, stars Omar Sy as the main character, Hassan, and he is just fantastic. Me personally, I've never really seen him in anything else other than Jurassic World, the first one with Chris Pratt. He was the French guy. He was Chris Pratt's character's kind of partner in training the Velociraptor. So that's how you may know him. But he is such a great lead. I loved him in these first 5 episodes. I felt about Lupin the same way I felt about The Queen's Gambit. It was just such a well done show. Just the writing style is amazing. The acting is fantastic. It keeps you on your toes. It finds ways to really just change the story in ways that you didn't expect it to. I went into Lupin with the first episode thinking that the main character, Hassan, was one way, and just completely coming out of that first episode realizing he's completely different, and it's so great. The show is called Lupin because a lot of what Hassan does is based on the character by Maurice LeBlanc, Arsène Lupin. This character that's been in about 25 to 25 books, and he's pretty much what is described as a gentleman thief. And you find out that Hassan has based a lot of who he is on this character for reasons that are in the show that you find out. So we were left off with part 1 in such a huge cliffhanger. I mean, most shows when they're wrapping up a season kind of, they obviously open the door a little for what the story in the next season's going to be, but they kind of wrap things up a little bit. They did none of that in this, which kind of makes sense because the more I was reading about it, it's a 10-episode show that they're breaking up into 2 parts, so it could be that. But anyway, the way it ended was just so great. And again, I want to put out a spoiler warning here. I'll take a second. Spoilers. So the part 1 ended with Hassan and his estranged wife, Claire, taking their son to this sort of area that I guess other people who are obsessed with Lupin go, because Hassan was getting his son into it. And all while this is happening, Hassan is looking for the people who are responsible for his father's death so many years ago. And because Hassan pretty much is rattling cages at this point, it's making the people who are responsible very anxious to quiet him, because it is someone with a lot of wealth and a lot of influence and power in France and really around the world. So you have Hassan and Claire, who are, you can tell that they really love each other still. It's just that they've known each other for so long, and Claire has kind of gotten sick and tired of Hassan really being so mysterious and really just not being so emotionally there for her 100%. So, but they're still there for their son. They still love their son together. So they're there to take him on his birthday, and lo and behold, Hassan's problems follow them even to that. So unfortunately, Hassan's son is kidnapped by one of the goons that this rich guy has hired, and that's how it ends. So we have part 2 coming this summer, and I wanted to talk about what I hope is going to happen in part 2. So obviously we hope that Hassan's son is recovered safely. This show definitely is so satisfying, but also has twists, and it shows that there are consequences to the Pandora's box that Hassan is opening right now. So I'm imagining that there's going to be a degree of consequences in Hassan's journey to still expose the people responsible for his father's death, whether that be he gets gravely injured, Claire gets gravely injured, the son gets gravely injured. Frankly, I do hope that Hassan and Claire do get back together, just because you can tell, as I said, that they so care for each other, and I'm a sucker when it comes. I don't really like romantic comedies or anything like that, but when it comes to dramas, if they add it in there and it fits, then I'm okay with it. So I really hope that they get back together. As I said, I hope that the son is recovered safely, and I want this guy, Mr. Pellegrini, is the one who's responsible for Hassan's father's death. I want him to go down. I want it to be revealed that Hassan's father had nothing to do with the disappearance of the Queen's necklace, which is what got him in trouble in the first place, and what really kind of knocked over these rows and rows of dominoes, essentially. So I want Mr. Pellegrini to get taken down. I do like, though, I want to say, at the end of part 1, where we see Hassan's son get kidnapped. Not that I like seeing him kidnapped, but I did like that they showed that there are consequences to what Hassan is doing. In his, he's based so much of who he is on this gentleman thief and always being 3 steps ahead of everyone, and feeling how, smarter maybe he is than others, because he kind of knows the tricks of just how to cheat life, essentially. But there are consequences. So it has to come to, at some point in part 2, where he perhaps sees that the life that he's been leading isn't really one to have looked up to. Yes, it's a great story, and it's the reason why he has survived this whole time, being on his own, considering his father died at an early age. But he needs to see that not only did it cost him his marriage with Claire, it nearly cost him his son. And there needs to be at a point where it ends. Because the thing is, in part 1, he has a buddy, Benjamin, who always says, you keep saying that after this you're going to stop, after this you're going to stop, after this you're going to stop. And he doesn't seem to stop. So there has to be a moment where Hassan is finally comfortable and stops. And that's what I'm hoping happens in part 2 of this show. It is so fantastic. As I said, I really suggest watching it, because you don't want to miss part 2 that comes out this summer. I think Omar Sy has done a phenomenal job in what he has done with this character. The writers, as I said, are fantastic, and I just think that it is really a show that you're going to want to check out. And when part 2 comes out in the summer, I will be all over it. I will be so excited. I'll probably be reviewing it over at my other channel, which I'll link down below. But yeah, besides that, as I said, let's just do a quick recount. Haven't had my coffee yet today, but let's do a quick recap of what I want to happen in part 2 of Lupin, I want Hassan and Claire to get back together. I want the son to be recovered safely. I want Mr. Pellegrini to go down. I want Hassan's father's name to be clear. And the thing is that all the things that I have named are things that I'm sure other fans want as well. So them fulfilling those will be so satisfying. And it seems that this show so far has been very satisfying. But with good shows, you always want to do something that's a twist and maybe isn't necessarily expected by the viewer, and maybe even the viewer doesn't necessarily like it, but appreciates that the story had the audacity and the boldness to go there. So I do also expect in this show for something to happen that's quite shocking. And really just stirs up the consequences aspect for Hassan. I certainly hope that Hassan doesn't get killed off. That is not something that I want. But certainly him maybe just seeing that there are more consequences than he had previously thought, because he kind of lives life thinking that things are free of consequences, because he's never really had huge ties to people. Even when he was with Claire, he still behaved as if he had no ties to life. So yeah, I'm just really excited for part 2 of Lupin. I think you should be excited for part 2 of Lupin. As I said, you should watch this. You should certainly watch Lupin part 1. It's on Netflix. It's 5 episodes. Please get used to the fact that it's in French and you have to read the subtitles. I promise you, once you get used to that, you will be so immersed into the story it won't even matter. I see a lot of people who are like, well, I don't want to read while I watch. I swear it becomes second nature. I don't miss anything when I'm, watching something that has subtitles. In fact, I usually watch most of my movies and TV shows with subtitles, even if it's in English, just because there are little things that you can miss if you don't have the subtitles on. So that's just my tip here. Tia's tip. But yeah, so please let me know down below. Please subscribe, please like this video, share it. Let me know what you're looking forward to in season 2 of Lupin. I think that it's really great. I want to drive, excitement forward for part 2. As I said, part 1 seems to also be quite popular, but because it's a non-English speaking show, it may not get as much exposure as it deserves, and believe me, it deserves it. So yeah, you should watch part 2 of Lupin. This is Tia for You Should Watch This, and you should certainly watch Lupin on Netflix. So I will see you guys next week with a brand new video, and I hope everyone is happy, safe, and if you're on the East Coast, I hope you enjoyed all that snow that we recently had. So I'll see you guys later.